Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey.
You don't sound too delighted to be here right now.
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too, man.
I didn't get a lot of sleep.
It kind of sucks.
Shocking, right? But
yeah, recording on Saturdays is we work Friday nights, so then we come home and have no time and I kind of have to try and sleep before we record. But this is our first episode that we're recording since the new year. So how's your new year been? It's been a couple days.
Steamboat Willie entered public domain.
I'll want to talk about that in a minute.
So
'cause that's crazy.
I mean, it's not that crazy.
Well, okay, you bring it up.
It was supposed to happen after 25 years, I think, after Walt Disney's death.
Yeah.
And then they were like, nah, let's
They somehow managed to
push it
circumvent
back.
Yeah.
Not somehow. It's called lots and lots of money and lobbying from both Disney and a bunch of other companies. But that finally happened. And, there's a bunch of stuff coming out. There's a horror movie. There's a horror game.
There's more than one. I wrote these down.
No, there's a bunch of stuff. Because people have known this is coming for years, so they already had stuff done, and they just couldn't release it till January 1st, 2024. I think the only issue, and it's an issue I think a lot of people have because they got too excited, is everyone's like, Mickey Mouse entered public domain.
Well, it's specifically Steamboat
Yeah,
Willie.
Mickey Mouse didn't enter public domain. Steamboat Willie entered public domain. And I bring that up because I think a lot of people are going to get in trouble because there's a very, very specific character design and actions that entered public domain. And if you get even slightly close to the non-public domain Mickey Mouse,
Disney's going to sue the fuck out of you.
Oh, Disney's going to sue the fuck out of you out of spite.
Yeah.
And so I think what we're going to see in the coming couple years, is a lot of people being like, oh, I'm using Mickey Mouse, and then just get annihilated.
Yeah. So you beat me to it because this is something I want to talk about in the news portion of the podcast, but we're already here. 2 that I know of Mickey Mouse horror movies have been announced. One of them is called Mickey's Mousetrap, which I've seen slight stuff for. It looks like a slasher just dressed like Mickey Mouse, whatever.
Yeah.
The other one is called Steamboat Willie, which is the same concept except they're on a ferry. Those are the ones I've seen so far. I know there's also the horror game coming out. It's like something 88.
It's not. It was.
Oh, it's not happening anymore? Disney already got them?
No. What was it called? It was like something. It was like Night 88 or something like that.
Yeah.
It had to change its name because people were freaking out about it being a Nazi reference.
Oh.
Because apparently 88's a Nazi thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But apparently the company was like, we didn't know that either. I'm sorry.
I didn't think about that till you just said it.
And then other people pointed out the fact that there's sequences where you're gassing rats.
Oh.
Which, I mean...
Oh, God.
I'm going to be honest here. I get why everyone goes Mickey Mouse game anti-Semitism.
Walt Disney was,
because, historically speaking, Walt Disney was very anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And racist. But in all honesty, I'm not sure how intentional that was.
See, that's the thing is I think those two things are just very very good coincidences.
Yeah, I think it's not a great coincidence, but my guess is they probably did it accidentally.
Yeah.
Which sucks because they were doing so good. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're the first one out."
No, yeah, people
we're getting
were
a
hype
bunch
about
of
it.
hype.
And it looked relatively okay.
And then they got in trouble.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
hopefully they recover, assuming it was all accidental.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the 88 thing was because it's set in 1988.
Oh, okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
That makes more sense. Okay. Well, now that we're on news, I guess we've kind of escalated to that. Unless you have something else that you want to talk about before we move on.
Nope.
No? Okay. The Omen is receiving a prequel in April 2024 called The First Omen. We've not seen The Omen on the podcast. Yeah, it is. I looked it up because I was curious because I kept seeing stuff and I was like, is this a sequel to The Omen? Because I know there's a second Omen movie, at least.
At least.
This is a prequel.
Pretty sure there's a bunch of stuff.
Is there? I don't know. We've never seen The Omen. I've heard it's very scary. I've heard it's very good. I think it's very interesting that in 2024 they're doing a prequel.
I mean, you know why, right?
No.
Okay, this is me gonna get really negative for a second, which kind of
Okay.
sucks, but Hollywood's kind of gotten to the point where they don't really care about making good movies anymore.
Fair
and
enough.
It's kind of just a money thing now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a real big issue in recent years. I mean, yes, you could maybe argue some of this is due to the writer's strike, but honestly, there's been a trend where we haven't had a lot of good movies recently,
Yeah.
and we've had a lot of cash grab garbage.
Oh, The Exorcist.
And that's what I was going to say is we've had a trend where there's a lot of movies where they're just doing remakes that are just very obviously cash grabs, where they're trying somewhat because they want to make money, but not necessarily to make a good movie.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that The Omen's just going to be that again.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's not even an Omen remake. It's
A prequel.
a prequel to The Omen. And do you know anything about The Omen?
Lady has the Antichrist in her body, right? Or is that no? That's Rosemary's Baby.
It's Rosemary's Baby.
No, then I don't know anything about The Omen.
I mean, it's an Antichrist movie. You were on the right track.
Yeah. I thought so.
But point being is I'm not really sure how you do a prequel movie
No.
for The Omen.
Is it well? Because isn't the whole point of like an Omen like showing?
I was more thinking of like, do you just show the devil having sex with a woman?
Like, I mean, I don't know. You know, I thought I'd bring it up because I know The Omen is very beloved. People like that movie. I've also heard it's very good.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it on the podcast.
We'll probably watch it eventually.
We should. I mean, that's one of those ones that I've wanted to watch for a while because I think it will scare the shit out of me.
Maybe if we ever do like Antichrist.
Yeah, that's a category I've
That's
been
a
thinking about
category.
pitching for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Because
I've been
that's
thinking
like
about
a
it.
big genre. Like, there are tons of Antichrist films.
I know there is, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't think of any at the top of my head besides The Omen.
Yeah, fair enough.
There definitely is because I've seen a couple.
Okay. This is the last thing I have. This week was kind of slow in terms of news, so this is just kind of something interesting. You know that movie Night Swim? Have you seen trailers for this movie? Do you know what this is?
Vaguely.
From what I have taken from not watching the trailer, but reading an article and like looking at different stuff online, it's basically a movie about a woman swimming in a pool and bad things happen. Like a night swim. She goes swimming at night, bad things happen in a pool. That's the whole film.
Don't go swimming at night alone. Bring a friend.
Okay. Have I ever told
Make sure
you
they're not drunk either.
that I'm terrified of?
That's what happened to the lady in Jaws. She went swimming alone at night,
Oh yeah.
and her friend was drunk.
I'm terrified of pools. Like I'm not
You're
scared
just
of pools.
terrified of water, Bob.
I'm terrified of water. So the idea of this movie is really scary to me. Like actually like terrifying. There's something about swimming at night in the dark and not being able to see what's in the like it's just so scary.
Okay, Bob, most pools have lights in the pool,
Yeah, but sometimes they don't.
so you can see the bottom. Or at
well-
the very least, there's lights outside, so you can still see the bottom.
Sure. Anyway, just thought I should preface my spiel about this film with I'm terrified of this concept. It's out. It came out as of recording this yesterday. Has like 1.1K reviews on IMDb, and it currently sits at a 5 out of 10, which honestly is not surprising because A, it's a movie about a pool.
Ooh.
Like that scares me personally, but I'm sure that doesn't scare the general audience.
That's because you're a baby man.
You're right. Thought I'd bring it up because I was actually kind of hyped for this film. Like I was excited about it.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Infinity Pool?
No, I don't want to watch Infinity
That's
Pool.
a different movie.
That is a different movie, and I don't want to watch it.
All right, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Then really quick, not exactly news, but Shudder just added The Thing.
Oh, dope!
So if you want to watch that for free,
Hell yeah!
and you already have Shudder, it's on there. That's all I have for free trials all the time. So if you don't already have a free trial,
Yeah,
it's a free trial for like a month.
you can watch so much stuff in a month.
And if you have creator codes, we don't have one, but if you have creator codes,
That's when we know we've made it, Benjamin.
I think you can get like 2 months or something.
Damn.
Use your deals, people. They're nice. So I just wanted to mention that because I was looking on there today. But aside from that, not exactly news, but Bob wanted me to mention it before we actually start the podcast.
Oh yeah, you know what's crazy? I forgot about this.
Yeah, I know. You tend to be a little scatterbrained when we start these.
Yeah, because I got stuff I want to talk about.
But Long story short, we kind of mentioned this on a previous episode, specifically our New Year's episode. So sorry if you listen to that one and you're going to hear this spiel again. But Bob was like, no one listens to those episodes.
Well, it's more like it's on the end of the episode, so if people didn't stick around, they probably didn't hear it. And this is like a big announcement for the year.
That's an actual podcast episode. I
Yeah.
think that's the more valid point. But we talked about kind of what we were planning for next year for like stuff. Because this year, I guess last year technically, 2023 was intended to be like the year of holiday movies. And our goal was to just cover a bunch of holiday movies just so we could experiment with figuring out what holidays we'd like to do for extra content, but also to just get more content under our belt so we could get a better handle on the whole podcast format. And, we did that for, I think, the first half of the year.
I think we covered basically every major holiday we wanted to cover except for like one.
No, that's true, but I meant like we were really into it for the first half of the year.
We covered what did we did Groundhog Day?
Yeah, we did a bunch of nonsense holidays in addition to like actual holidays. But then we started doing convention prep and we did a bunch of episodes there, so we had to kind of like drop off.
I can't imagine if we had tried to do both.
I mean, we kind of did. But
we kind of did, but it was also hell.
Point being, we're not doing probably either of those things this year. We're not doing. We'll do holiday movies, but probably not to the same extent.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be, if I have a movie I want to watch for a specific holiday, I'll tell Bob and we'll release that, but we'll tell you right beforehand. We probably won't do convention stuff. I assume we might go to a convention this year.
We might go, but I don't know if we'll need to do any prep.
But I don't think we'll do prep because we have a lot more movies under our belt now. And if we do, it'll probably only be one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of discussing like, hey, what extra content do we maybe want to do this year, if any? And the conclusion we came to is I think we're going to start covering series that we've started, because I'm personally against having sequels and stuff and remakes on the board, just because that implies that you have to go like watch a previous episode if you want to know what's happening, or like know our comments on the last one. So if we ever want to cover like anything that's come before, we basically need a good excuse. And our good excuse is we're just going to finish series.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've entirely decided on what we're going to start with yet. Probably it's going to be Halloween.
I don't know, man. Leprechaun's enticing.
Bob wants to kill himself, so sorry about that. Anyways, we're not sure what we're starting with. We're also not sure when stuff like that's going to be coming out. So
No idea.
To let you know right now, we're going to have kind of a flexible schedule with completing series. I think the plan is to start and finish recording the rest of the movies in a series, and then once we're done with all of that, we'll tell you on probably an actual board episode, like what series we're releasing, and just start releasing it once we've finished recording it.
Yeah.
That way, we can get to you. We can get it released to you in like a timely manner.
Yeah.
Even if it takes us much longer to record it than once a week.
Yeah. Because we were recording convention prep as it was coming out, and that was
sucked.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. Look out for that at some point. But we'll give you a heads up when it comes up.
Yeah, for sure.
With that being said, though, we actually have to get to the actual podcast part of this podcast.
Yeah.
So, 3 categories, Bob.
Yeah, man.
Got Catholic movies, Universal monster movies, and witches.
So, we watched Universal monster film last week, which it was good. I like Frankenstein. I thought it was.
I assume you're taking a break from
Yes,
Universal monster
that was my
movies.
point. Is we watched one. We've already seen one. It was cool. I like it. But I don't... Look, this podcast is all about scaring me, right? That's kind of that's the reason I show up here, Benjamin.
Oh, if that's what you want, I could organize a season where you shit your pants.
Okay, maybe don't do that.
Is that what you want?
No, man. I like to also enjoy myself when we do the podcast.
We'll do oceans,
Okay.
cannibals.
Key, shut up.
And what's
I
your-
almost said something really bad just now.
You were gonna say kill yourself. I know what you're gonna say.
I didn't want to say it on the podcast. I would have felt bad.
And then, we need a third thing that's real bad.
I have an idea.
Oh, what?
Why would I tell you?
No, I'm just curious. This would be your choice.
alien abduction films or alien films in
Ooh,
general. Like
alien
Little Gray Men.
abduction films.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That'll scare the shit out of me. I don't like that shit.
I know a couple alien abduction films that make you shit your
almost
pants.
pitched that this season. 'Cause I was
Oh.
like, we haven't done that
Do
yet.
that next season.
No, we won't. No, we won't. You already picked your category. You told me.
No, I didn't. Not for next season.
I thought you said you already had something.
No,
in
you're
mind.
thinking about this season. Or, what, last season for this season?
Whatever.
Anyways, yeah. So,
Yeah, I gotta pick. I don't know what I want. I guess my point is, Witches was cool, and I like that movie. It was fun.
it's kind of a toss-up, though, for what you're going to get.
Kind of. Catholic movies. That movie scared the fuck out of me, and I kind of want to go back to it. But I'm gonna pick my own category again. I'm gonna go back to Witches because we got a not so horror movie last time.
You sure you want to do witches again?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, why are you asking though? You never ask.
I always ask.
Sometimes you ask and it's not a good sign though. Fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna do Witches.
You sure?
Shut up. Yeah, I'm doing Witches.
Okay.
What do I have? I don't even know.
I think you chose 3 last time, so I think you have 1 and 2.
1.
1?
Fuck. Yeah.
You sure?
Fuck, man. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
sure
man.
you want witches spot number 1?
Yeah, Witches spot 1.
100%.
Stop. Just tell me what we're watching.
Are you sure you want to know?
Oh, I'm gonna kill myself.
It's not even that bad. I just think the suspense is much worse for you than
The
anything
suspense
else.
is killing me.
Okay, final chance.
Yeah, Ben. I'm choosing that.
All right, we're watching Suspiria.
That's a witch movie?
Kinda.
Whoa.
I kind of just wanted to put it on the board, so I kind of slapped it on there.
I can't believe we're watching this. This is not when I expected this movie to come up.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
By the way, we're watching the original Suspiria, so
Yeah, yeah.
1977.
Not the remake.
Not the remake.
Which is from what, like 20? It's like the 2000s.
Do you want to take a guess?
It was recent, right?
Yeah.
It was like 2018.
Exactly 2018. Very good.
Yep. I heard some of my friends at a wedding talking about it, and I walked out of the room because I went, I don't want spoilers for that movie. 'Cause
People
it's
like it.
apparently very good.
It's supposed to be a good remake. Some of the famous scenes that they redid are very well done.
Sick.
Yeah. So, you ready
Mm-hmm.
for some witches?
I didn't know this was a witch movie.
More like bitches.
Bitches.
I'm going to
Okay.
say that on every witch episode.
That's fine. It's pretty funny.
No, it's not. All right. Description. Dance of the Sugar Plum Witches.
Huh? Okay. This is confusing.
Because, Dance of the Sugar Plum.
No, I know, but
Okay.
I don't know how
Fairies.
this ties into Suspiria. I don't know anything about this movie.
Okay.
I know nothing other than it's Italian, I think.
Italian. I think.
I'm pretty sure it's an Italian movie.
It's an hour and 32 minutes long. It's rated R. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10. Tomato meter gave it a 94%.
Oh,
Audience score of 83%.
hell yeah.
It has 1 win and 4 nominations. Notable actors are Jessica Harper as Susie Banyan. She played Phoenix in Phantom of the Paradise. Stefania Cassini as Sarah Sims. She played Neve in 1900. Flavio Bucci as Daniel. He was total and property is no longer a theft. Miguel Bose as Mark. He played Lorca in Lorca. Alida Valli as Miss Tanner. She played Anna Schmidt in The Third Man. Joanne Bennett as Madame Blanc. She played Catherine Kitty March in Scarlet Street. Udo Kier as Dr. Frank Mandel. Do you recognize that name?
Vaguely.
He was Morgan Walker in Halloween 2017. Or 2007, I'm sorry.
I was like, hold on, what? Okay.
Rob Zombie.
Yep, that makes sense.
Barbara Magnolfi as Olga Ivanova. She was Ursula Bain and the sister of Ursula. Eva Axon as Patricia Pathingle. She played Mary Odile in The Golden Mass. And finally, Rudolph Schundler as Professor Milius. He was Carl in The Exorcist.
Okay. I had to think for a second. I got it.
All right, director. Kind of a big one. Because I don't think we've ever seen him on this podcast before. Dario Argento.
I thought so.
So that's kind of cool for Bob.
It is cool. I'm excited.
He also directed The Cat o' Nine Tails. Writers, again, Dario Argento. He also wrote Tenebrae.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
And then the other writer is Daria Nicolodi.
Oh.
She also wrote Paganini Horror. She has some uncredited writing stuff, too, that's more famous. Budget and box office, I really couldn't find. Well, I found stuff, but not anything I was super confident with.
Okay.
And it was also kind of all over the place. As for country of origin, it's obviously Italy.
Yeah.
And this is 1977 Italy. So I don't really have a lot of stuff on this movie. Sorry. But I'm sure you can find a bunch of stuff on Suspiria if you want to look very, very closely. Because this movie is very, very famous.
Yeah.
With that being said, a couple things we can bring up like right off the bat. First of all, apparently this movie is based on a essay, at least partially, by Thomas de Quincey. And it's an essay from 1945 entitled Suspiria de Profundis. So, yeah.
Do you know what that means in Italian?
I don't think it's Italian. I'm pretty sure it's Latin.
Oh.
Because I believe
I just assumed it was Italian.
Quincy is English.
Oh.
Yeah. Famous work from 1945. Or 1845, sorry. But
okay. That's I was like, what?
yeah, it's at least partially based on that. I think they just took some inspiration from those essays. I think, in fact, that's where the name comes from. Suspiria.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, this film is the first of a trilogy of films by Argento, known as the Three Mothers trilogy. They're vaguely related. They're not like, Suspiria 1, Suspiria 2, Suspiria 3.
Okay.
But the other films in the trilogy are The Inferno from 1980 and The Mother of Tears from 2007.
Damn.
And it's called the Three Mothers trilogy, if you're wondering.
Those are very spread apart.
Now, aside from those two films, there's actually two other Suspiria projects. There was an unfilmed remake in 2008.
Damn.
Which is probably good that didn't come out, because I believe it was being made by MTV.
Whoa.
And it was the same guy who made Pineapple Express was directing.
That can't... Who thought that was a good idea?
Well, okay, Bob, what director directed Pineapple Express?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
You don't know off the top of your head?
But I know what Pineapple Express is.
You sure you don't know off the top of your head?
No.
That his name has never come up in your brain before.
It probably has. I just don't know.
His first name's David. His middle name's Gordon. His last name's Green.
Oh, this guy's got to stop.
Well, he didn't do it, but he was going to.
This guy has to stop. He must be stopped.
I can't believe you didn't remember David Gordon Green did Pineapple Express, because your favorite quote...
Shut up. I know.
...by one of your favorite people ragged on him for it.
Yeah. He's just a menace.
Anyways, I believe he was the one who was supposed to direct it. But that never ended up happening. And then obviously there's the 2018 remake.
Which I've heard is good.
I think it's from an Italian director.
See, that's sick.
Now, aside from all that, I think the only thing I want to get into before we start this film is just a fun little fact about Italian cinema, especially Italian horror cinema from like the 60s to the 90s and stuff. If you're not really familiar with that type of thing, because, we haven't covered it on the podcast. I'm not sure how many people who aren't like super big horror fans and just super nerdy about it watch Italian horror films.
Oh, I'm so excited, Ben.
But the big thing to know is a lot of Italian stuff, especially before, the 90s, is dubbed. Oftentimes dubbed in English.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit odd, because objectively we're used to seeing, subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also weird because they are purposely dubbed, and that's how they came out.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is twofold. A, it's because of international distribution. A lot of these Italian films were designed to be, released in Italy, but also internationally. And if you release them in English, you could probably make more money than you would in Italy. But the other reason that they're dubbed is that it was common practice. Now, I'm not sure how true this is, but my understanding of it is that during World War II, there was just a practice of recording stuff without sound and then dubbing it so you could, control what was being said.
Yeah.
And that just style stuck around, I think, both because they got used to it as a film technique, because in some ways it's a lot easier to do all your sound in post-production, but also because people got used to it.
Yeah, it just became like a normal cultural thing.
Plus, it gives you a lot of very nice benefits if you're used to it. Like, you can have an English actor or an Italian actor speaking a different language, and that sound good without, like, accents. But yeah, long story short, common thing you'll see, a lot of Italian stuff from this time period.
Really like it, personally.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah, we watched Zombie 2 and...
Yeah, but not on the podcast.
The Beyond. We watched them off the podcast.
The Beyond's not Italian, is it?
They're both Lucio Fulci films.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Another director I want to watch on the podcast.
Anyways, that's all I got to say, though. So we're just going to go into the movie.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, Ben. I'm excited about this one. Well, see you guys in a minute. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Suspiria.
What do you think, Bob?
I liked it.
Good.
I have a question, though.
What?
You told me where the name came from.
Yes.
Is that an Italian word? Suspiria?
I think it's Latin.
What does it mean? Suspense?
So, Suspiria de Profundis, which is the name of that essay that this is loosely based on, is a Latin phrase meaning sighs from the depths. And right off the bat, I'll tell you why it's like the loose basis for this film. And that, I think, will be a good description for this film in general. See, like I said, it's a collection of essays from Thomas de Quincey, an English writer. And it was an examination of the process of memory as influenced by hallucinogenic drug use. And if that doesn't describe the art style of this film...
No, that makes sense. Yeah. This movie's fucking weird, man.
Yeah. It's like a drug trip.
Kind of. Not entirely, but somewhat.
I wouldn't know. But yeah, I guess I can do a brief rundown, and then I'm just going to let Bob mostly talk about it. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't really have much to say about this film.
That's crazy to me. That's insane that you have nothing to talk about. Were you not witnessing the movie? Were you not watching?
It's, it's an art film. Like, it's very, very pretty. But, that's kind of my main thought.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay.
With that being said, it's a pretty straightforward premise, I guess, all things considered.
Yeah.
This American woman, she's a ballerina, and she ends up being invited to this conservatory in, what do we think, Germany?
Italy, Germany.
I think it's Germany.
I don't know. It makes sense to be German.
They were wearing, what, Lederhosens? Lieberhosens?
Yeah.
And dancing?
Yeah.
The slap dance?
In like a beer hall.
Yeah. Anyways, she gets invited to this private conservatorium to practice ballet. And when she gets there, weird stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
And, well, it's not revealed till, like, the end of the movie. Witchcraft is involved somehow. Obviously, this is the witch category. And, obviously, spoiler warning ahead. I'd recommend you go watch this film before you hear anything, because it very much is an experienced-based film, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. The fact that this is in the witches category is, like, the biggest spoiler in the world.
Oh, it is.
If we had watched this in any other category, I would have had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
Till the end of the movie.
But I was like, let's just watch Suspiria.
No, I'm glad we watched it. I really liked the movie. But, like, I guess what I'm getting at is, we've already spoiled the biggest spoiler in the whole film.
Oh, yeah. But it's not, like, too big of a deal.
No, it's not.
All things considered.
It's really not.
Because even though you aren't told there's, like, magic or anything till the very end, even from the very beginning, something's amiss. Something's amiss. But yeah, the whole film's an experience. It's very artsy. It isn't, like, completely avant-garde, but it has a lot of distinct traits of just very artsy cinematography. Everything's very colorful. And I'm going to use the word psychedelic.
Yeah.
But the whole movie, at least for me, kind of tries to give the vague impression of, like, a lucid dream-like experience. And to be honest, that was my biggest takeaway, is it just kind of lures you into a weird sense of, I don't know, contentment. Like, it's a pretty chill film, but it's very, very pretty. Now, I know Bob had different opinions about that because he's a little baby and he was on the edge of his seat the whole movie. But do you want to share your thoughts and feelings?
Okay. You call me a little, fuck you.
Little baby man.
This movie is, this is a horror movie podcast. This movie is not traditionally, like, scary. There is, like, maybe a couple jump scares that got me. Like, maybe one or two. The big thing this movie does is that I fucking love, because you all know. Why'd you just make that face?
What?
You made a face when I said that. And it looks
I
like
was yawning.
It looked like you were mad at me, and I was like, what did I say? No, the big thing this film does that I love a lot is it's really suspenseful. Like, it's very good at taking scenes that should not make you uncomfortable, and they make you uncomfortable and build tension in a really cool way. Like, there's this moment pretty far into the film, I'd say probably like an hour in or something, where it's just Susie and Sarah talking, but because
Susie's the main character and Sarah's like her friend.
Yeah, they're just talking, but because this movie does really cool stuff with color. They're like frontlit in red, and the sounds they're playing over them talking, the scene makes you so uncomfortable. But there's honestly nothing happening. They're just talking. Like, that's all the sequence is. But there's something about, like, the way they hold on, because it's, like, really, really close up on their face. And there are tons of really cool shots where they're super close up on people's faces, and they hold on stuff for just long enough to make you uncomfortable and make you feel squeamish and, like, anxious. I don't know. This movie's really good at, like, taking color and sound and cinematography and making me feel the way it wants me to feel, I guess. It's very good at setting a good tone and mood throughout the entire film. And it just does it in such a way I've never experienced in a movie. Because in other films, you'll watch a film and you'll go, oh, like, the dialogue or the characters are getting me there. But it's not that in this film. It's everything else. Like, not that the acting is bad or the characters are bad or the dialogue is poorly written, but that's not why I watch the movie. I'm not here for that. I'm here for everything else. Just like the atmosphere is crazy. And I think it comes from a place of, like, Ben mentioned it. This movie has a very good, what is the word you used before? Ephemeral?
Yeah, ephemeral.
The movie, who's that director? Wes Anderson? It's almost, I've never seen a Wes Anderson film. I've just seen what his sets
Bob's
look
like, yeah, it's this one thing I have no basis for, but yeah.
Well, no, just like
it doesn't,
the vibe.
It doesn't look like a Wes Anderson film, but there is a removal from reality that is present in both, like, films.
That's more what
that
I'm
I do
at.
think comes through. Like, everything in this film kind of feels artificial.
Yeah, it all,
because it is. It's all sets.
It's all sets. First of all, they look fucking awesome.
A lot of them use symmetry to, again, look like kaleidoscopes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Psychedelic.
Once again, the point. I don't know. I get just this movie does such a good job with using the sets and the sound and the color to get across emotion in a way that I've never even seen, like, thought about in a movie. Like, I've never even thought about anything like this. It's crazy. Like, this movie made me, like, scared with nothing, basically. It's super dope.
I still think it's funny it made you scared.
It's cool, man. It's super cool.
Since you didn't mention it, I'll bring it up. The music's done by Goblin.
Oh, the music is so good.
I don't think we've heard of, like, Goblin before on the podcast, but they're cool. They have a fun
really
band
cool.
name.
Yeah.
Goblin. I think Dario Argento also does the music, but Goblin's the performer.
No, they do a really good job with the music in this movie.
It really does carry, I think, a lot of the film. Because all the sound design, besides the very obvious, like, ADR people, it's just very, very well done, and it really helps the tone. It's very light and floaty, almost fairy-esque. Really, really helps, I think, the creepy factor of a lot of scenes.
The other thing I want to talk about, and we've kind of been floating around it, the way all the sets are designed.
That's probably where most of the work for this film went into.
Oh, for sure, it has to.
That and just cinematography.
Yeah, there's some really, really cool shots in this film.
Because the way the environment's framed in shot is very well done. Especially with reflections of just people.
Tons of mirror use in this movie, which I really enjoy. I thought it was really dope.
But, yeah, all the all the sets are just very, very well done.
They're all super colorful. And
again, that palette tones of like red and blue and yellow.
Yeah, and sometimes green. But that's probably the big thing is like the sets are usually because there's what? The red area, the blue rooms, and the yellow rooms?
Basically. Orange kind of sometimes.
Yeah. And the movie moves you between these three different areas, and they all have three very different distinct styles.
And tones.
And when you're in that room, because of the color usage, you're kind of, you know what to expect. It's like, I don't know. I don't know like fucking colors that well.
Color theory?
Color theory. Like, I don't know how that shit works. But like, when we're in the red areas, bad things happen.
More aggressive stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's a more aggressive color. Blue is a more somber color, so more somber things happen there. Yellow was more warm and inviting.
Mm-hmm. And not so horrible things happen there. It's just super cool. Like, I've never seen a movie tackle color like this and use it so effectively, and it just has blown my noggin.
Again, it's because this film isn't a realism-based film. It's an art film.
Yeah.
I mean, all the lighting doesn't make sense at all.
No, it's
like
awesome.
People will be randomly backlit in random colors, while they're front lit in a different color, and then side lit by a third color.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And there'll be like parts where you'll be in a room that's a particular color, but certain areas of the room will be a different color because they're supposed to. It's cool. I just can't get over how cool the color stuff in this movie is.
Yeah, I mean, overall, again, this film is very much a good watch.
Yeah,
because it's an experience, primarily visually. I will say, I did say the Goblin soundtrack is really great, and it's really great because it accompanies the visuals. But the visuals are, I think, the main draw of this film. But I think that's the hard part of describing it for me, is that the visuals of this movie are great. It's just like any, I think, very, very good art film. But everything else is just kind of okay, I think. Not bad or anything. And I think it really, really fits the style of this movie, the general plot and everything. But
yeah,
like overall, it's very much a nothing film. In like what happens,
I don't know. I see where you're coming from, but I had such a good time just absorbing it all in my first watch
that's fine. You can have a good time absorbing it, but that doesn't mean things actually happened in the movie. I mean, legitimately very little happens in this film.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the point. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it does make, I think, addressing this film, unless you're going to pull into the really nitty-gritty of the specifics of style, very difficult.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair.
Because objectively, again, our main character, Susie, gets there, and events start happening. Specifically, there's a murder right at the kickoff of this film.
Oh, it's so good, too.
And then there's just some general creepiness that's happening.
Yeah.
But are just mostly smaller events. With that being said, I think let me just describe that first murder really quick, because it's probably the inciting incident for the film right off the bat. But it's also one of those blips of horror in this film that it doesn't have a lot of. But right when Susie gets to the conservatory, she ends up running into this woman that's leaving, assumedly running away. Although we do learn that she was
kicked out,
allegedly. And we watch this woman make it to her friend's apartment, and we focus on her for a bit. And when she's, I think, changing in the bathroom, she gets nabbed. And we get to watch her get stabbed and then drop through a window and hung with wire. And I think the thing I want to bring up with like this scene and some of the later scenes of violence, I don't think I'm going to describe them here, is that they're very close up and realistic.
Yeah.
In a way that doesn't necessarily match the more like ephemeral tone of the rest of the movie. And it makes them stand out in a very brutal way. And I just want to bring it up because I think it's a very interesting thing the film does, because it includes like moments like that every once in a while. And so you'll have these more dreamlike sequences broken up by these more harsh moments of reality. It's just interesting. It's like the film lures you into a sense of like calm contentness.
Yeah.
And then rips you out.
It does that a lot, especially when there's some moments later in the movie where someone's getting chased, And it does a really good job at like keeping the music in this like light ephemeral. It's still like scary chase music, but it's still like this light, like bouncy kind of tone. But as soon as it wants to like lure you in, the music will stop and it'll switch up and it'll pull you in as soon as they're about to get. That's how you know stuff's about to happen is the music. I mean, it's very predictable, but in like the best way possible because it matches perfectly.
I mean, classic music cues.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, though, I think that's Suspiria. I don't really have much to say about this film.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it's more of an experience than it is an event, if that makes sense. With that being said, if you're okay, do you want to go into recommendations?
Okay. I'll talk about one more thing before we move on. You know, this is a movie about witches, right? We haven't really covered it. There's some cool, like, how do I put it? Witch-like occurrences that occur, like that happen, that are talked away through happenstance.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because until the end of the movie, you're not confirmed that it's witchcraft or whatever. Like,
oh, in fact, it almost feels like the witchcraft just tacked on as an afterthought.
Kind of.
Because most of the stuff is basically super easily explained away.
Yeah, and the movie tries to explain it away.
The only reason it's witchcraft is it's just super bad luck to the point of being unnatural.
Being ridiculous. But I think that's super cool, playing into like the Craft did this as well. Like, playing into this isn't really witchcraft, it's some other BS. You know, it's just, unlucky. Like, stuff's happening. Explain it away before you get to the movie, and then it allows the end reveal of, it's witchcraft to hit so much harder. Because it's finally like, it is witchcraft, and oh my god, shit's going down.
This
it's awesome.
isn't just a creepy conservatorium.
No, it's like actual witches, and it's super dope. I just thought that was a really cool point, because if it had just come out straight and been like, witches, I would have been like, okay. This isn't as spooky, because it makes all those moments that I'm talking about earlier in the film where suspense is building and you're getting freaked out, they wouldn't hit as hard because you go, it's just a witch. But because you don't know, and it's kind of like this build-up, it helps the end hit a lot harder. Because I think the end of this movie is fucking awesome. It might be my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah. But objectively, I think that's because the end of this film is a lot more fast-paced. A lot more happens at a short period of time.
But that only works so well because the rest of the movie is so slow and suspenseful that when you finally get to the end and it starts paying off, it feels worth it.
I mean, fair.
You know what I mean?
With that being said, recommendation.
If you're into Italian cinema, Italian horror movies specifically, this is the third one I've seen.
First one on the podcast.
I'm going to put it out there. I fucking love Italian horror movies. These are so fucking cool.
I mean, this is Dario Argento. He's very famous.
He's very famous.
And this is a very famous horror movie for Italian cinema, too. So
cool. So dope. Love it. If you want an art film, this movie is super artistic. We've talked about it a ton. But the way they use color and set design and the way the sets are built, it's all super, like, stylistic and dope and super cool. I love it. I think it's so fun.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so, man.
Okay. All right. So, first of all, right off the bat, like Bob was saying, this is a very good and famous example of Italian cinema, especially of Dario Argento, who is a very, very famous Italian director. So if you're interested in Italian horror cinema and you haven't seen Dario Argento, you haven't seen Suspiria, I'd highly recommend giving it a watch at least once. It's worth diving into. With that being said, as far as like actual movie recommendations go, I'm not sure if I necessarily can recommend this film. I enjoy it, but it is very much an art film. And the thing about art films is either you like them or you hate them and you think they're god-awful. I could imagine so many people watching this film and falling asleep.
God, I could never.
Because Bob was on the seat of his pants this whole movie. To be honest, I was not. Like,
Ben was sleeping.
I was not sleeping, but I am tired. And this movie is like a little lullaby that lulls me in. So the amount of suspense you get from this film may vary, but I do enjoy this film. I like it. But just because I like it doesn't mean everyone will. And if you don't like more art-oriented films, this film is going to fucking blow for you.
That's crazy.
If you don't like slow films, this is awful. because it is very slow. There is a few moments where it's a lot more high stakes. Like I said, that initial murder sequence is very intense.
So good.
But it's also very artsy. And again, if you don't like that weird abstraction from reality and the lack of realism, it's just not going to work for you. And that's okay. I think for a lot of people, the remake is a lot more approachable because it's a lot less artsy.
Oh,
not entirely.
That makes me sad.
It is artsy in its own way, but it's a very different style.
Okay.
Again, this film is a 70s movie, and the new one's a 2018 film.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very good, but they're very good in different ways. So I'd like to put that out there. But yeah, it's a good film if you like slow, artsy films. But especially it's a good film if you like color and attention to detail with cinematography and set design, because that's where you're going to get most of your story from. In a way, a lot of the set design and attention to detail there almost reminds me of something Kubrick-esque. Kind of if you've ever seen The Shining and
I've
how
never seen a Stanley Kubrick film.
the setting of the hotel is very otherworldly. That's how a lot of the sets look here. Obviously, there's some weird lighting stuff in this film as opposed to The Shining. But there's a very similar vibe in the sets that I think you might like, especially if you like The Shining. Because, again, that's also a pretty slow film that's more ephemeral and
We gotta watch that at some point.
abstracted
on the podcast.
from reality. We'll watch it eventually. But that being said, you want to rate it?
Yeah, I can't. You know what? No, I don't care. 5. No, yeah, 5. I think this movie's fucking awesome. I actually really, really, really love this movie, and I totally get where you're coming from. Like, I guess my point is, I understand what you're saying, but I could never imagine feeling that way. Like, for me, this is awesome. I love this shit. I eat this shit up. This is some of my favorite kind of cinema. Like, yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to give it a 5.
Yeah, I didn't think you were.
Objectively, I don't think this movie's perfect.
Oh.
And I'm not mad at Bob because I can tell he likes it that much, but I really don't think it deserves a 5. It is a very, very good movie. The sheer attention to detail is going to get it a very high rating by itself. But it's in the same boat for me as I think all art films are, where there's more of a focus on the vibe than there is the storytelling. And I just think objectively that can make something that's very beautiful and very unique, but doesn't necessarily make a good movie in the more classical sense. So I think I'm going to go with a 4 at the end of the day, because in all honesty, I think the general plot and the characterization, all that stuff is a little bit on the lower side. Like, it's fine. It's around a 3.5. But again, the thing that really gets this film a higher rating is just the appearance. You know, the attention to the detail with some of the cinematography, how the camera's angled to pick up some reflections, all the coloring.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the style really does escalate, I think, this up very, very high.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm giving it a 4. But again, it's an art film, and that's what it is first and foremost.
You know what pushed me to a 5? And I was just thinking about this because I was like, because I knew you were gonna ask me a rating, and in my head I was like, I want to give it a 5 because I actually fucking love this movie. The attention to detail in this movie is bar none. Like, I don't think there's a movie I've seen more attention to detail.
Not that you've seen. There is movies.
Sure, not that I've seen. I guess.
I mean, The Shining, straight up.
Really?
Oh, Kubrick was, to put it lightly, abusively OCD.
I guess my thing is there's so much stuff in this movie where if you pick it up, there's literally stuff in the background and you go, oh, that's going to come back. Like, there's tons of stuff I noticed where, oh, that's going to come back around later. Like, that's a plot point.
Oh, yeah. It's
crazy.
Beautiful film. It's insanely well shot.
But when you can pick up details of the plot purely from cinematography in, like, such a detailed way where you go, oh, well, that's, of course, this thing that's going to come back around later. And it does come back around and it works. It's just, like, there's some beauty in that I can't get around.
I mean, it's art. It's just, that's the thing with art.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be, because of its very nature, it's not the same, I think, as traditional storytelling.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess other thing is, like, this movie just hit me in the right way. Like,
And
I get it if
it hit
someone
Bob
doesn't
in the
like
right
this.
way. Yeah, and I know it does for a lot of people. I've met a couple people who really, really love this film.
This is one of those ones where I'm like, man, I'm going to have to go to Amazon right after Ben leaves and buy a Blu-ray of this or something. Because I want to own this.
But
so bad.
I think that's us. We'll go to outtakes. I'm not sure if we'll have any.
Yeah, we marked a lot more than I expected to, actually.
But who knows if they're good.
Who knows if they're good? Yeah.
With that being said, we'll be back in a second.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Suspiria so far. I love this movie. I think it's awesome. But without further ado, let's get in to the outtakes. This first outtake is our reaction to the beginning of the first kill of the film. Fuck! What the fuck? What is happening?
I believe a hand's grabbing her.
No, I know, but what is, like, holy shit. This next clip is our reaction to one of the many spooky things that occurs throughout the film. I think that might be the point, Benjamin. Never mind. That's fucking gross. Oh, there's like maggots in her hair.
I think they're in the comb, not in her hair.
Oh, that's fucking disgusting. Where are they coming from? They're all over the fucking ceiling? This next clip is me being scared at nothing and Ben being as helpful as ever. This is such an unscary situation. Why am I fucking freaking out?
I don't know. Why are you freaking out?
I don't know.
Stop.
Thank God that's over.
Glad I helped.
This next clip is our reaction to one of the most brutal deaths in this entire film. Oh! Oh! Whoa! What a horrible way to go! Dude, this came out after. Oh, God. Stop. Stop showing me that. This next clip is our reaction to probably the most slow, painful death in this entire film. Oh! Is that fucking razor wire?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Why is that there?
It was a trap.
That's an awful way to die.
Oh, she's not going to die from it.
Oh! She's just getting fucking mangled by it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we have any announcements, Ben?
No, we don't have any announcements. So, usual shtick. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other places. We're also on YouTube, which one not the most convenient place to watch like a podcast because it's a video platform. YouTube's kind of nice to show us some support with your likes and subscriptions. It's an easy way for us to tell like how our audience is doing. YouTube also has a couple useful tools for you guys. There's a bell button which can notify you whenever we post new stuff. I know other platforms have that, but I know everyone has YouTube, so that's kind of easy to access. There's also a search button, which allows you to search specific keywords in any of our episodes. So if you want to know if we've covered a specific movie, that's a very easy way to do it. And then you can backtrack whatever episode that is to like Spotify or something, whatever your usual watching platform is. Aside from that, though, YouTube is one of the main two places to communicate with us at. You can do it in the comment section of a specific episode, or you can go over to Twitter at Beware the Board and go talk to Bob. Phase in and out.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that one.
Color spectrum of comments.
Oh, okay. Good one, Ben. That was good. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at Beware the Board. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that Friday's episode, which is a hidden movie cover that you can reveal so you can watch the movie before we do, so that when we list the episodes, you don't get any spoilers, and when we're being vague about stuff, you kind of know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whatever the episode goes live, I post a link to the episode with maybe a meme. So if you ever missed an upload or want to know when something went up, there's always a link on our Twitter. Last thing, we do short form content on TikTok at Beware the Board and on YouTube Shorts. So if you're into short form content and like the show, check us out there at Beware the Board on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts. Benjamin, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next time.